Black Wednesday in the Southwest region, precisely in Kondo Titi. A divisional officer for Kondo Titi, Abulua Timothy, and the mayor of the same municipality in Jan division of the Southwest region are reported to have been killed this Wednesday, March 2, 2022 in Bekora after their vehicle stepped on an explosive device. Primary school operating on clandestine basis in the littoral region will be shut down from next academic year, while some teachers roaming around offices will have to be redeployed in schools suffering from lack of teachers. Measures, among others, taken today as the Minister of Basic Education visited Lorian, a nursery and primary school in Douala, where a 9-year-old pupil was tortured by his teacher. And teachers say unless their problems are looked into, they will continue with their strike action. After a meeting with the government for teachers to resume work, they are bent on pushing on their agenda through for the payment of the arrears. Black Wednesday this day in the Kondo Titi Southwest region of Cameroon. A divisional officer for a Kondo Titi, Abulua Timothy, and the mayor of the same municipality in Anzian division of the Southwest region reported to have been killed this Wednesday, March 2, 2022 in Bikora after their vehicles stepped on an explosive device. It is not yet clear if the explosive that blew off the vehicle was the landmine or an improvised explosive device. Those who died alongside the divisional officer and the mayor include the driver, Mayor Stanley, the CPDM section president, and Ashudan Akono. According to sources, the incident happens at 1:30 p.m. We'll certainly come back to that in our subsequent editions of Newscast. Primary schools operating on clandestine basis in the littoral region will be shut down next academic year, while some teachers roaming around offices will have to be redeployed in some schools here in Cameroon's economic city, Douala, to fill the gap of schools suffering from lack of teachers. Measures, among others, taken today by the Minister of Basic Education, Laurent Serge Etudingwa, while visiting the Laureate, a nursery and primary school in Douala, where a 9-year-old pupil was tortured by his teacher. More in the following story. The case of this 9-year-old pupil tortured by his teacher at the Laureate Nursery and Primary School at Bilonge in Douala is now in the hands of the government.
The child is getting more and more better for her health condition, and we are following it, and we will try to do everything necessary to put him in a safe environment.
While visiting the school and holding a one-on-one talk with the people and his teachers at the Laureate Nursery and Primary School at Bilonge in Douala, the Minister of Basic Education raised worries on the child's state of mind and the learning environment.
It seems that the environment in which he is living or he is schooling is not very safe, because they are smoking there what is forbidden, they drink what is forbidden, and when we saw the place where the school is built, it is very favorable to such oppression. So,
shocked by the torturing incident, the minister is clear corporal punishment had long been banned in schools in Cameroon.
Physical punishment is not authorized by the law in Cameroon. It's not authorized like that. As any other place in the world, is not authorized.
The state of the infrastructure of the school, couple others visited, has pushed Basic Education Minister to take tough sanctions.
Cameroonians are creating more and more fantastic private schools. Some have been created before, and let's say that a very slight proportion of some of those private schools are in a very bad state. The governor got all the instructions to take care of those schools, and come the end of this school year, we will close them.
Another worry remains the lack of teachers in classrooms, whereas the littoral region is noted for plethoric teachers. The who roam around offices, a redeployment of teachers is imminent, the minister cried out. The torturing of little Isaac and growing violence and moral decadence within and around the school milieu, experts say, necessitates the presence of guidance counselors at the primary level, at least to follow up pupils at that tender stage. And teachers say until their problems are looked into, they will continue with their strike action after a meeting with the government for teachers to resume work. They are bent on pushing through with their agenda, and they say their payment, they must be paid their arrears and other fringe benefits. Our reporter, Saleh Sharifa, has been talking with some teachers. Her story.
After a meeting with the government for them to resume work, part-time teachers are bent on pushing their agenda through for the payment of their arrears and other fringe benefits. Despite a meeting with the head of government, the belated teachers are still to go back to their classrooms. Indeed, we received the information, but without any essence which justifies that our claims are taken into consideration. These teachers say, unless their problems are looked into, they will continue with the strike action. We are waiting for their reactions. We don't want them to react to the tick and tack, but as our demands will be solved, we shall see how to slow down our strike movement. Meantime, Higher Education Teachers Trade Union published a release in support of the teachers of secondary education. Elsewhere, parents are worried on the situation as their children are at the threshold of end-of-year examination.
Others in strike action that began days back, some teachers have refused to work, citing unpaid salaries, some dating back years. Government-led negotiations Tuesday failed to reach an agreement, putting the education of hundreds of thousands of children on hold at government high school. They do, for example, like in Kumasi and many others, children are already feeling the impact of the strike action. Reacting to the strike action of secondary school teachers, which might also contaminate those of the basic education sector, the Minister of Basic Education, Cliquez.
Now, basic education is functioning well, but we have, let's say, a vocation of solidarity to the secondary education who has all these problems now. But if it is secondary education today, it may be primary education tomorrow. So we must know the very, very fundamental issues who are bringing us to those strikes. But I think that what is good is that the government tackled the issue. Meetings have been holding under the supervision of the Prime Minister. So decisions are taken there. It's better for those who are complaining to know that their complaints are now understood, and that solution are being seeking now to find a way out of that, so that we recover the normal functioning of the system. But all this is about financial issues, and those financial issues are in two orders: the technical one and the material one. The material one is waiting for the technical issue to be solved, and as soon as possible, I think that the thing must come back to normal. And it's good that the teachers know that the government is now getting more and more ready for their issues, and they return to school. They must think about our children who are there. It's good. If the issue was wrong, we cannot take a prime minister who is working all night long, as yesterday, all night long, with his collaborators to find solution. It means that it is serious. They are tackling it seriously to come out with a satisfactory solution. Thank you.
And just every Cameroonian is complaining of hard times to do purchases that requires the use of coins. The scarcity has hit Cameroon's economy, and many reasons have been advanced to gambling machines, which is a huge consumer of the coins. Saleh Sharifa tells us more about the coins.
The protracted coin scarcity that has hit Cameroon's economy for the past 4 years is posing serious problems to business transactions. Just every citizen complains of hard times in doing purchases that requires the use of coins. It is very difficult to manage issue of coins. Sometimes I lose customers who may need reimbursement, or sometimes I make an appointment with them to come back later. People find it difficult to circulate and board taxi. In groceries and market settings, it is common for traders to refuse notes due to the absence of coins in case a buyer makes purchase that will require a reimbursement of his or her balance. When a client proposes 200 francs in 500 francs note, you can't refund his balance because you can't have coins. That's our first obstacle, because at times you go back home without working. There is no work, and scarcity of coins has made things worse. Many reasons have been advanced for the coin scarcity. Gambling machines are known to be a huge consumer of coins. These coins disappear from circulations and are held by these machines. In 2019, the governor of the Bank of Central African State, BEAC, had announced that the central bank was going to salvage the situation by injecting 90 billion francs of coins.
And 2 suspects who burgled the Kia Motor Industries in Yaoundé are presently napping in detention at the Gendarmerie Brigade in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. The 2 were hemmed 48 hours after robbing the company's material worth millions of francs CFA. More on that story with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamu.
Last February, they said to 7 at around 3 a.m., a supposed gang of criminals operating in town break into the Kia Motors company in Yaoundé. They made away with many television sets, computer screens, laptops, and the company's safe. Notified, the commander of the 1st Gendarmerie Legion and team went to work immediately. And thanks to their judicial research service fighting against criminality and in collaboration with the population, they were able in 48 hours to nab 2 out of the 3 suspects at the Omispo and Bankolo neighborhoods, respectively. The suspects are presently in detention at the gendarmerie post while investigation is ongoing for the one who is on the run. Unfortunately also, some of the stolen items have been retrieved. The intervention really rapid, and the wish is for the 113 gendarmerie code to be this agile always in cases of alert. Inquiry is ongoing for justice to take its course.
And Christians all over the world are commemorating Ash Wednesday today. Ash Wednesday says a salvo for the Lenten week, symbolizing their return to those masses are being said across the world today as the Lenten season ushers in. Beatrice Gamu completes that story for us.
Applying ashes on the foreheads of each person, the sign of Ash Wednesday. And many believers in Jesus Christ around the world this Wednesday morning, like here at the Mary Mediatrix Parish today, to partake in this solemn day. Uttering the words, "You are dust, and to dust you shall return," before the act, the priest or religious simply reminds us of the emptiness of our very lives, human mortality, meaning no matter our status in life today, we shall die one day and return to nothing, dust. With this in mind, Christians are called to be humble, a return to God by putting a stop to our sinful and wayward lives.
Le temps de carême est un temps de conversion, un temps de pénitence.
Lent is a time of conversion, repentance, time for believers, Christians to enter into spiritual battle to win back the life of God, destroyed, you see. The beginning of a 40-day period of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, our journey Christians are encouraged to engage in all sincerity. The colors of the church has also changed to purple, gloomy, sad. The ashes applied on the front heads of Christians this day should be noted are the ashes from the burnt palms Christians used to welcome Christ's triumphant entry into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday.
An honor series on the International Women's Day will take you to the discovery of a Cameroonian, a woman, Dominique Toneseki, who is an aerospace systems engineer at the NASA. Her determination and commitment towards bringing development and change in her community has been saluted by millions of women across the globe. Let's follow her report. Her smile says it all, souvenirs of her childhood days in a former primary school in the heart of Cameroon's economic city has been described as a motivational factor to both the pupils and teachers who watch her grow up to fame.
I'm really emotional today, and I'm especially grateful for the opportunity to come back where my story started. And I really appreciate all the staff at the Ribambelle because they allowed me to, they nurtured my dream, and they allowed me to become what I am today.
The young Cameroonian-born aerospace system engineer working at NASA, Reine Dominique Toneseki, daughter of former government delegates to the Douala City Council, has won several awards in the U.S. for helping to launch a satellite into the space.
So the message I have for the youth is to dream again. And I think we are a great group of capable individuals, capable of doing great things for our country, for our continent.
This man, Père Martin, just like other teachers who have spent more than 25 years working in this primary school, holds souvenirs of her primary school days. They describe her as smart, curious, and too nosy about happenings around the environment.
Dominique était une petite fille.
Back then, she was a small girl, timid but very courageous.
Ses parents l'ont laissée.
Et je suis content de voir son parcours.
She asks a lot of questions. She reads a whole textbook in a week, always itchy to make discovery.
Et je voyais dans les yeux de Dominique des petites étoiles qui pétillaient.
In a society where moral decadence is fast eating deep into the fabrics of the society, Reine Dominique tells young women and boys to remain committed, steadfast, and work towards their dream and progress. And Cameroonians continue to celebrate the appointment of Rigobert Song-Bahana as the head coach of the national team. The appointment of the former captain comes on the heels of a rift between the Minister of Sports and President of the Cameroon Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o, on who has a constitutional right to appoint a coach for the national team. The technical department is just telling me we can't have that story. We have come to the end of this edition of Newscast on Canal, the International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly 19:05. Alain Gislain Kanga, but coming up next is the brief. We leave Piejou. As of me, I'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.